Good evening, everyone. So this is our last video discussion for this semester, and I just want to say that it's been a privilege getting to know everybody, looking at your videos, discussing, posting. But this is the last one, so let's get started. There has been no other scholar of evangelical historiography that has attempted to lay out in the fashion in which he did a theory of scholarship such as George Marsden did in The Outrageous Idea of Christian Scholarship. Now, today in modern mainstream academia, you find Marxist, feminist, gay, postmodern, African American, conservative, and liberal schools of thought, but no Christian ones. Christian perspectives are considered unscientific, unprofessional, non-empirical, and not worthy of consideration. Matter of fact, the 1950s was the last era in which Protestantism prevailed as the unofficial public religion. The cultural upheavals of the 1960s and an increased emphasis on diversity meant that in order to reform education, Christianity had to be dismantled. Now, of course, that now everyone concedes, for example, that being a woman, an African American, a Hispanic, a Native American, it makes a difference in how some things are perceived. Well, according to Marsden, religious perspectives should be accepted as playing potentially legitimate roles in academic interpretations as well. Christians can and should be allowed to explain and defend their own viewpoints and, in the proper settings, attempt to persuade others, just as advocates of feminist, Marxist, liberal democratic, neoconservative, or purely naturalistic views often do. But traditional Christian perspectives are not that outrageous at all. Deeply religious people should be participating fully in academia. Religious beliefs affect the questions that we ask, the way that we organize our interpretations of a topic. But there is a secular bias. There is a bias against religion. Modern disciplines ignore the relevance of theological perspectives. Isn't a university's purpose to deal with all knowledge? Well, since theology is a branch of knowledge, a university should have a proper place for it. Marsden argues that we should avoid the culture wars mentality. Christian scholars should appreciate the positive values or insights that these other isms may bring, whether it's nationalism or socialism or Marxism or liberalism or subjectivism or feminism or relativism, elitism, and so forth. We can learn from the isms that we ultimately oppose. Well, Marsden concludes that Christian scholarship will not reach its potential unless it can establish a strong institutional base. And in the United States, there really are no Protestant research universities that approach anything like the first rank, and the obstacles to founding one are formidable. The accrediting agencies, demands for academic freedom, the separation of church and state, those ideas, they've all pushed towards standardized and secularized norms. Schools that have a Christian heritage must take concrete steps to counteract the pressure to conform to the secular standards of the dominant university culture. Well, Marsden says that one way to counter such a trend is to develop hiring policies that target faculty who are concerned to relate their faith to their teaching and scholarship. Like the student radicals of the 1960s who are now the tenured professors, well, these young people may be the harbingers of a change in American academia that will come to bear in the next generation. Thank you, everyone, and Merry Christmas.